I never imagined a marriage could unravel so quietly. You assume there'll be shouting, slammed doors, someone leaving with their keys shaking in their hand. But mine didn't fall apart with noise. It wore down slowly, almost gently, the way water smooths stone. And then one morning I woke up realizing there was nothing solid left to hold on to. My name is Aiden. I'm 39. And until not long ago, I believed my wife, Marlo, still loved me the way she once did. Warmly, softly, with little gestures that didn't need explanation. But love shifts when communication turns into bargaining. When honesty becomes optional. When even the simplest question feels like stepping into a minefield. It began in small ways. I'd ask where she planned to go after work. She'd brush it off with vague replies. Just out with friends, nothing important. At first, I convinced myself I was imagining things. Everyone needs room to breathe. I didn't want to be the man who demanded a report of every movement. But this wasn't space. It was a wall. A wall she guarded. 3 nights earlier, she'd stumbled in long after midnight. No call. No text. She smelled like a citrus perfume I'd never known her to wear. When I asked if everything was all right, she rolled her eyes and said, "Aiden, I'm not doing this. I don't owe you updates. I'm an adult." It was the first time she'd spoken to me like I was a stranger. And strangers don't owe you truth. But I wasn't after explanations. I wanted honesty, the kind we used to share without effort. Everything changed on an otherwise unremarkable Thursday. I'd finished work early and stopped by Juniper House, a small restaurant we once loved before things between us grew tangled. That morning, she'd said she'd be having dinner with a coworker named Ellis. I didn't question it. I wished her a good evening. Inside the restaurant, warm conversation floated around me, candles flickered on worn wooden tables, and for a moment it felt like I'd stepped into an old memory. Then I saw her. Marlo sat near the back window. Not with Ellis. Not with anyone from her office. She was leaning in, laughing, really laughing, the way she hadn't with me in months. Across from her was a man I'd never seen before, his hand resting casually close to hers in a way that spoke of comfort, not coincidence. My first reaction wasn't rage. It was a cold, hollow kind of numbness, like the air had been sucked from the room. I didn't go over. I didn't confront her. I didn't make a scene. Instead, I took the table directly behind hers, back to back, close enough to hear, far enough that she wouldn't notice. I don't fully understand the choice even now. Maybe I wanted the truth free from the excuses she'd rehearsed. After a few minutes, she picked up her phone. Her shoulders tightened as she typed, quick and dismissive. My phone vibrated. A message from Marlo. "I don't have to tell you where I am." She had no idea I was watching her lie in real time. I stared at the message, then looked up at the back of her head. Her hair was in a loose braid, the style she wore on easy days. She looked relaxed, light, unburdened. All the weight she'd been giving me? She wasn't carrying any of it. She'd passed it to me little by little until I was holding all of it alone. My thumb hovered over my screen. I didn't want to attack her. I didn't want to call her out publicly or make a scene. I wanted to match the simplicity of her own clarity. I typed one sentence and hit send. "Marlo, turn around." Her whole body went rigid. Her back straightened. Slowly, cautiously, she turned. And in that instant, I wasn't sure what was going to give way first. Her lie, our marriage, or the version of myself I'd been trying so hard to keep steady. When her eyes met mine, they widened with recognition and something sharper. Guilt, maybe, or the sudden knowledge that the truth had finally surfaced. I didn't speak. If I opened my mouth, the pieces of everything might have hit the ground all at once. So I let the silence say what I couldn't, while the restaurant carried on around us, voices murmuring, forks tapping, completely unaware that a whole marriage had just cracked open in the quiet. For a moment, the world narrowed to only us, standing back to back, connected by an unseen thread pulling from my chest to hers. Then she spoke, voice low and careful. "Aiden." I cut her off with a slight shake of my head. Nothing needed to be said. Not yet. Instead, I let her feel the steadiness in me, the calm that had replaced the tangled worry I used to carry for her moods, her silences, her vanishing acts. In the past few months, I had learned something important. When love wears away quietly, confrontation doesn't save it. Clarity does. And I finally had mine. I rose slowly and stepped around the table. She flinched, her fingers gripping the edge. The man sitting across from her, the one who drew the easy smile she no longer offered me, looked up, startled and confused. I didn't speak. I didn't demand answers. I didn't accuse either of them. I didn't even look his way. I only looked at her. And in that look, I laid everything bare. I saw what had been happening. I understood what it meant. And I knew I no longer fit in a story where my presence barely registered. Her mouth opened, then closed again, words forming and dying before reaching the air. She tried once more, but I stopped her again, this time without a sound. A slow exhale, a small nod, the quiet shift in my posture. She understood. She could no longer direct the narrative, not over me, not over the calm that had replaced months of hurt, confusion, and fear. I walked past her toward the exit. Outside, the night air was crisp and bright, sharp in the way that wakes you up. The city lights blurred as adrenaline met the strange lightness building in my chest. I didn't rush. I didn't slam a door. I simply walked, steady steps, a steadier heart. For the first time in months, I wasn't hauling the heaviness of her distance with me. I was empty, yes, but in the kind of way that makes room for clarity and strength, a clearing, not a void. Later, the messages came. Short, nervous, defensive. She tried to explain, to justify, to give fragments of reasons she had never shared before. But the truth had already landed. I had already reached the quiet peace that comes only after accepting that someone no longer values you in the way you need. I didn't respond right away, not from anger, but from understanding. You cannot force respect, affection, or honesty from someone who chooses not to offer it. In the days that followed, the unraveling became obvious. Late dinners, disappearing acts, whispered calls, sudden obligations that never included me. No dramatic betrayal, no movie-scene scandal, just a slow drift that had been happening for years. I had been holding on to pieces while she was already somewhere else, whether she meant to be or not. I called my closest friend, Juniper, the one who'd seen me at the beginning of all this. She didn't interrogate me. She simply listened. When I finished, she said quietly, "Aiden, you're free now. You just didn't notice when it happened." She was right. Freedom doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers a truth you can't unsee. That night, I lay on my couch staring at the ceiling. The silence didn't press down on me. It felt clean, open. I let myself imagine a different life, steady, peaceful, not fought for with desperation, not pinned to someone who no longer reached for me. Mornings with coffee on my balcony, evenings full of laughter, trips taken on a whim. The simple right to feel wanted, seen, chosen. Weeks went by. I resisted checking on her, resisted tracking whether she felt my absence. And, as I had expected, she didn't. Not because she was cruel, but because our story had ended quietly, with all the politeness of something long overdue. Eventually, Marlo reached out again. A brief message, "We need to talk." I didn't hurry to reply. I didn't spiral. I didn't plead. I answered with 3 words that held everything: pain, clarity, resolution. I already have. Because I had seen her clearly. I had accepted the truth. And now I only had to live it. In that moment, I realized something profound. Leaving isn't always fueled by anger. It isn't about punishing someone or proving something. It's about reclaiming the parts of yourself you slowly surrendered. It's walking into the night with steady steps, finally whole enough to be unseen yet fully alive. And as I moved through the city, surrounded by distant sounds and the hum of life, I felt a weight lift, a quiet, beautiful lightness that comes with closure. The kind that doesn't demand spectacle or permission. The kind that simply exists.